Welcome back, everyone. Today is October 26th. It is currently 9:29 a.m. as I'm recording this. Today I'm going to talk about a very important piece of advice that a friend gave to me when I began my teaching career. So I began teaching in 2020, which was right around the time when COVID took over and we had all these lockdowns and whatnot. And I was about 23 years old when I started teaching, so I was quite young, closing in on 24 perhaps. And one of the first things I discovered was that when you're a young teacher, students certainly treat you differently. And when you're very extroverted, very sociable, and you build relationships with students, learning quickly that it's got to be a two-way street. So if I'm in class just messing with the kids, making fun of them, and just being casual, recognizing that they're also going to be very casual with me. And this led to some interesting situations where students would kind of tease me about various things. So for some time I was shaving my head and all the kids would call me bald. I remember wearing suspenders to work because I like wearing suits, and a lot of the kids would be like, "What are you wearing?" And all sorts of things like that. And I noticed early on that sometimes some of the things the kids would say to me would really annoy me. And I'd talk to my friend about it and he would just smile and say, "Najib, you have to let them push the button until it breaks." And what he meant by that is that if you always get emotional and upset every time a student says something that is somewhat true, but maybe a little on the more humor side, and they're trying to make fun of you or point out your insecurities, as long as that button still exists, they're going to keep pushing it. Case in point, early on in my career, and still to this day, I still like reading quite a bit, and I will often have 1, 2, or 3 books by my desk in the classroom, and the students would kind of tease me like, "Oh, you read? That's embarrassing." To which I would be very confused, like, "What the hell are you talking about? Like, I'm learning. Like, it's more embarrassing that you're sitting there not doing anything." And for many of the kids who didn't read, I remember this one girl, she drew this cartoon of me, and because my name is Najib, it rhymes with dweeb, so it's Najib the Dweeb, and if I recall correctly, there was maybe a book in the drawing. And so the point of this video is to essentially talk about, our insecurities and when people poke at them, because, if you exist in the real world, people are going to tease you, they're going to make fun of you, they're going to talk about you, and they're going to poke at your insecurities if you give them room to do that, to really test who you are and what you're about. So let's say you're trying out a new style. Another example would be I have a leather bomber jacket. Every now and then instead of wearing a suit, I'd wear a t-shirt and throw the jacket over top. And the kids would kind of poke fun about like, "Oh, you think you're like a gangster or something?" Which was just silly and ridiculous. But they're essentially testing how secure you are about your decisions. And if you think about it in life, we almost always do that with everyone we meet, especially once we're comfortable with them, when we get to know them. And it's a very normal human interaction. And so as a teacher who would oftentimes joke with his students, recognizing that it's going to start coming back, it would be very unfair of me to joke with my students, but anytime they do it to me, I get them in trouble. And instead, I utilize this opportunity to basically figure out what about myself bothers me, what am I not secure about, what am I unsure about with my identity, and then using that as a mechanism to better understand myself and to become more secure with myself. And now I'm at the 4-year mark. Nothing the kids say to me really bothers me. Even the other day I was telling the class, someone offered me a little treat item, and I said, "I can't have that. For the month of October, I'm on a diet." And one of the students kind of joked, "Yeah, you look like you need to be on one." Instead of getting upset and angry, I just laughed and said, "That's kind of funny." And obviously understanding that, the student is trying to figure out, like, does this person feel insecure about their weight? Is it a nice thing to do? Probably not, but at the end of the day, who cares? They're still children and I'm an adult, and I should be the one responsible of my own emotions and my own reactions, because as the Stoics would say, that's all you really have control over. And being secure with myself, knowing that I'm not overweight, that I don't really need to go on a diet, and that it's a personal choice for my health. So it's one, testing how secure are you with your decisions. 2, it's testing how secure are you with your lifestyle choices. And 3, it's testing how committed are you to your promises to yourself. And none of these are bad things, right? People want to know this about us because then that builds a degree of trust. Think about it this way. When you have been hanging out with friends and maybe you poke fun at someone and they freak out, they overreact, and you figure out, oh, that's a sensitive spot. Now, growing up with my guy friends, we would just keep poking at that with that person because we knew we could get them to be like a dancing monkey. But as an adult, when someone has this snap reaction, you start to recognize that, oh, maybe this person isn't very emotionally stable or stable in general. And that is something that can be very dangerous. And the trust essentially gets eroded every time a person starts snapping over just what are words, really. And so my advice to you with this video would be, notice those times where you get emotional, where you get triggered, where you overreact, and start to really question yourself and question why you're doing that and question what's going on, and ask yourself if you're really secure with yourself, secure with your identity, and secure with who you are and who you're becoming. And don't get upset at people when they do this. Rather, internally thank them for pointing out something that maybe you're not confident about or secure about yet, and continue to work on that and recognize that you still need to make progress. And just know that if you continue to allow those buttons being poked until they don't work anymore, 3 to 5 years from now, you'll become a very secure human being, you'll be very comfortable with yourself, and anytime someone does do it, whether it's in a jovial manner or a rude manner, you can either laugh it off, or you can decide, wow, this person's an a-hole and I'm not going to be around them. I'm not going to spend time with them. This is not my type of person. So hopefully this helps. I hope you enjoy. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Take care.